After my last video, a lot of people asked about our Utah trip. So today I'm sharing our favorite places, businesses, and a few tips we learned along the way. We used Kanab, Utah as our home base and explored everything from Zion National Park to Bryce Canyon, Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and more. If you're planning a trip to southern Utah, here's what we would recommend. We stayed in Kanab, Utah, and honestly, I think it was the perfect base camp. Kanab is relaxed, laid back, and it reminded me a little bit of a mini Moab. We stayed at Burro Flats Airbnb, which was excellent and gave us easy access to everything we wanted to see. One of our favorite restaurants was Peekaboo Canyon Wood-Fired Kitchen. I think we ate there 4 out of the 6 nights we were in Kanab. You have to try the Pika Pear Panini. It is out of this world. Another favorite stop was Lotus Boutique and Studio. It's one of those places you wander into and end up spending way more time than you planned. The atmosphere was peaceful and welcoming, and it was a nice reminder that Kanab is more than just a place to sleep between adventures. Our first big adventure was Observation Point. Instead of hiking from the main trailhead, we took the shuttle from Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort to East Mesa. The shuttle drops you about a half a mile from the trailhead. The drive from Kanab was about 45 minutes, and the hike was around 8 miles round trip with very little shade, so definitely bring plenty of water. The views were absolutely incredible. From Observation Point, you can see Angel's Landing, the Virgin River, and a bird's eye view of Zion National Park. This was one of my favorite views of the entire trip. The next day, we tackled the Narrows, and in my opinion, this is one of the coolest experiences of the entire trip. One thing I did not realize beforehand is that you can't just drive to the Narrows. During shuttle season, private vehicles aren't allowed on that road, so you'll either need to take the shuttle or rent an e-bike. The Narrows starts at the very last shuttle stop. I believe it was stop 9, Temple of Sinawava. We were told to get to the visitor center early to catch the bus, and in my opinion, that's probably one of the best pieces of advice we got all week. We pulled into the visitor center around 5:45 in the morning and had no problem finding parking. By 6 a.m., people were already lining up for the shuttle. The first buses start arriving around 7, and by then the line had wrapped all the way around the parking lot. Everyone eventually gets on a bus, but getting there early definitely made the morning less stressful. The day before, we had stopped at the store Zion Guru in Springdale and rented canyon boots, neoprene socks, and a wooden hiking stick. And honestly, the hiking stick was probably the best money we spent all week. If you're planning to hike the Narrows, I personally wouldn't skip it. After getting off at stop 9, we walked about a mile on the Riverside Walk before reaching the river. From there, we spent the day hiking through one of the most unique places I have ever experienced. Towering canyon walls, cool water, and incredible scenery around every bend. It was definitely more crowded on the way back, especially as the temperatures climbed, but the Narrows ended up being one of the highlights of our entire trip. Day 3 was a little more relaxed, so we visited Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, which is only about 13 minutes from Kanab. We took the grand tour, visited the Parrot Building, and had lunch at Angel Village Cafe. Best Friends is the largest no-kill sanctuary for companion animals in the United States. Dogs, cats, horses, birds, rabbits, pigs, goats, you name it. This ended up being one of the most meaningful stops of our trip. If you're planning to visit, definitely book ahead. Then came the hike I had absolutely no intention of doing, Angel's Landing. Before this trip, I had already decided I wasn't doing it, and we had agreed that we weren't going to do it. I was perfectly happy admiring it from a distance. But we both last minute decided to put our names in the permit lottery anyway, and honestly, I didn't think we'd get selected. And somehow we did. Well, now I had a decision to make. Part of me wanted to back out right then and there, but the other part knew I'd probably regret it if I didn't at least try, so off we went. The hike up to Scout Lookout is beautiful and challenging, and honestly, if that's as far as you want to go, the views alone are worth the effort. But then we reached the chains, and that's when things got real. I won't lie, this hike scared me. There were several times where I had to stop, take a breath, and talk myself through it. The drop-offs are real, the exposure is real, and there were definitely moments where I questioned why I was doing this. I just kept focusing on the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one. Slowly, somehow, I made it to the top. The views are absolutely incredible, But honestly, what I'll remember most isn't the view, it's the feeling of doing something I genuinely didn't think I could do. The hike down probably took even more patience because everyone uses the same chain sections going both directions. There were a few moments where I was holding on pretty tight, but by the time I got to the bottom, I was so glad I hadn't talked myself out of it. Looking back, it ended up being one of the most memorable experiences of the entire trip, and I am so proud of myself for doing it. And I'm proud of Marion, too. Next up was Lower Antelope Canyon in Page, Arizona. We toured with a Navajo guide, and I honestly don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. The temperatures outside were around 100 degrees, but once you're inside the canyon, it feels noticeably cooler, like a lot cooler. The colors, textures, and lights are incredible. The guides were friendly, funny, and helped everyone get amazing photos, and this is one of those places that completely lived up to the hype. Afterward, we drove about 15 minutes to Horseshoe Bend. The walk is only about 3/4 of a mile, but when it's 103 degrees outside, it feels a lot longer. Bring water, trust me, the heat is no joke, but the view is absolutely worth it. On our final morning, we got up early for sunrise at Bryce Canyon. It was about a 1.5-hour drive from Kanab, but absolutely worth the early wake up. We got up at 4 a.m. and we made it there by sunrise. I think it was at 6 a.m. There were plenty of people there, but it never felt really overly crowded. Some of our favorite views actually came from walking a little bit below the main overlook where it was quieter and perfect for photos. After sunrise, we hiked part of the Queen's Garden Trail before making the 2-hour and 20-minute drive back to St. George for our flight home. It was the perfect way to end an amazing trip. Looking back, the scenery was incredible. The hikes were unforgettable. The food was fantastic. But what I'll remember the most is getting to share it all with a great friend. Sometimes the best part of a trip isn't the destination, it's the people you're with and the memories you make along the way. Thanks for coming along on the adventure.